Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out as True Green 7 draws up some crazy Pokemon entries. Now, I wonder if he's literally just going to take what it says in the Pokedex and create an image for it. Let's hop in. Get to see some crazy ass art today.
Hey guys, Ron here. I rarely talk about Pokedex entries on this channel. Y'all know I yap for ages when describing the dex entries of my own Fakemon, but it's time to focus on how the games describe actual Pokemon. Sometimes the Pokedex will talk about how a Pokemon may end up looking substantially different than it usually does, without actually ever showing us what it would look like in these unusual states. A Pokemon may shed its skin once per season, or look completely different when it's young according to the game, so I decided to take these dex entries and actually illustrate them so we can finally see these Pokemon in a new light. According to my Pokedex, an Iceless Glalie or Smooth Onyx is out there, so leave a like if you're excited to finally see these rare specimens. Make sure to check out my other Pokemon art videos when you're done, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. But before we begin, how about you place those eager peepers on today's sponsor, Squarespace? Let's begin somewhere tame before diving into the weird stuff that some of y'all will reject. Skarmory is a hardcore Pokemon that means business. The Pokedex states that its sturdy wings look heavy, but they are actually hollow and light, allowing it to fly freely in the sky. Nothing crazy there, but in the same breath it also reveals that after nesting in bramble bushes, the wings of its chicks grow hard from scratches by thorns. That means that baby Skarmory aren't born with these adamantine feathers. So here's what I think a baby Skarmory would look like. Notice it's much more juvenile proportions, with less neck segments, and of course, down feathers that have not matured. Nothing I show you today is a Prevo or Evo. This is a Skarmory with more Vulture-like attributes. It's not the only Pokemon whose hard hide starts out soft. According to the Dex, Sandslash's body is covered by tough spikes, which are hardened sections of its hide. Once a year, the old spikes fall out to be replaced with new spikes that grow out from beneath the old ones. So I surmise that once its old spikes fall out, they are replaced with these slightly softer and definitely lighter colored spikes that quickly
and look at those. Those spikes look a lot more sandy.
Harden and tan up. That's why they look more tender and folded down. They aren't fully dry yet. According to the Dex, its spikes can fall off and grow back in the next day, so this could easily be a representation of that state as well. But now that I've eased you into a more elegant looking shedding creature, how about we start talking about our good friend Golem? The game does him dirty and tells us how it sheds its skin once a year. The discarded shell immediately hardens and crumbles away. Once it sheds its skin, its body turns tender and whitish. Its hide hardens when it's exposed to air. Well, here he is, naked white Golem. Technically, this may also be what it looks like after it blows itself up. The shell becomes shrapnel and Golem is left like this. Honestly, more relatable now. He's
looks
just a dude.
So bad.
I think another relatable dude can be found in an unexpected Pokemon. Binacle is far from your average human. Two Binacle live together on one rock. When they fight, one of them will move to a different rock. Now in the anime we see this exact state, but when I first heard about this situation, I had to draw a Binacle with tiny legs and arms, just fed up with the other Binacle. It's the only illustration in this video that I know of that isn't accurate to the lore at all, but I wish it was, because this angry guy is hilarious. It's not the only Pokemon whose angry state I imagine to be rare to see. Wobbuffet is known for its patience. According to the Dex, Wobbuffet does nothing but endure attacks. It won't attack on its own, however, it won't endure attack on its tail. When that happens, the Pokemon will try to take the foe with its Destiny Bond. In order to conceal its black tail, it lives in a dark cave and only moves about at night. So I drew what I think would happen if a pissed Wobbuffet was caught off guard at night. It would reveal its true stance, and the tail would drop the facade out of desperation and hate. The tail is the real brain, and would come charging at you in this creepy contorted position, almost like a possessed person. Speaking of other Pokemon I would not want to see in the corner of my room at night, Glalie is intimidating, but not too unsettling. That's where the Pokedex comes in. Glalie has a body made of rock, which it hardens with an armor of ice. This Pokemon has the ability to freeze moisture in the atmosphere into any shape it desires. Despite the Dex stating that the ice cannot melt, it does clearly say that Glalie creates his mask. So before this Oni created this ice mask, this is what it probably looked like. An obsidian ogre. Okay, that sounds pretty sick. That could be a band name, and this would be their debut album's cover art. Yeah, I listened to Obsidian Ogre. It's kind of the exact same situation as Bergmite. They chill the air around them to minus 150 degrees Fahrenheit, freezing the water in the air into ice that they use as armor. So what does it look like without its ice? Probably not like this, but I don't have much to work with, honestly. I imagine its armor vaguely matches the shape of its body. Perhaps it has these soft protrusions? Perhaps not. I don't know. What do you
Now, I could picture this thing as just being a lot more soft and round.
think it looks like under there? But these two ain't the only armored Pokemon whose armorless appearance is speculated upon. About? I do not know the proper grammar here.
Either or.
Sizor. Scissor's metal coat, unlike Lely's ice, can actually melt off. The deck states how its wings are not used for flying. They are flapped at high speed to adjust its body temperature. Otherwise, its metal body would become too hot and melt in the heat of battle. Fans interpret that as its metal coat falling off to reveal what was initially a Scyther inside. It's pretty metal, pun intended. If for some reason Scissor couldn't flap its wings or the environment was simply too hot, its one weakness will cause it to look like this. You know, awesome and sick. While I believe Pineco is actually cute under its pinecone shaped shell. It's so hard to say pinecone shaped shell. Actually, never mind.
Yep, you just said it.
It likes to make its shell thicker by adding layers of tree bark. Just like real-world bagworms, I think it looks like a worm under there. One that is related to its cousin, Burmy. Guys, we can admit this looks cute, right? I would love to see this fine gentleman diligently building its shell. That's enough with the shelled Pokemon, though. However, that doesn't mean we're done with revealing the true appearances of concealed Pokemon.
Oh, yeah?
Tangela is the mon scientists have been theorizing about for years, decades. I guess they just didn't think about buying some scissors, because under those blue vines is this. This is Terry, the Tangela. Honestly, it's a vibe. Dude's got swagger. Sorry, never mind. He does not learn swagger. But he famously learns Ancient Power, and turns out there's a Pokemon who looked a bit different in the past. The Dreepy line are basically the ghosts of a Diplocaulus family. After being reborn as a ghost Pokemon, Dreepy wanders the area it used to inhabit back when it was alive in prehistoric seas. It has a habit of biting at Clauncher, even though it doesn't feed on them. This is said to be vestigial behavior from when Dreepy was alive. So, taking heavy inspiration from its real-world counterpart, I made Prehistoric Dreepy.
And
basically a cute little amphibian. Its warmer color scheme, fins, and legs are substantial yet subtle changes. Who's that Pokemon?
Damn it, I think I know that one, but I can't remember. It's like some kind of...
It's Psychic. Psychic!
That was it.
Another Pokemon I was originally going to interpret as a ghost was Varoom. You see, the deck states that it is said that this Pokemon was born when an unknown poison Pokemon entered and inspirited an engine left at a scrap processing factory. But also that the steel section is Varoom's actual body. This Pokemon clings to rocks and converts the minerals within into energy to fuel its activities. So is the steel section its real body, or the engine it's possessed? Like a ghost? I'm going to interpret Varoom as a cuttlefish, octopus, and squid-like creature with its exhausts mimicking the tentacles and siphon of these sea animals. It kind of floats in the air as if it's swimming through water. It makes a bit of sense, and its existing body parts already allude to this shape. It's actually crazy how cohesive this theory is, but there is a Pokemon I'm sure is possessed. Banette. It's a stuffed toy that was thrown away and became possessed, ever searching for the one who threw it away so it can exact its revenge.
Okay, that's
This is tricky since it has a pre-evolved form, so how does the evolved form of a Pokemon have a separate backstory from its Prevo? I don't know, but the Pokedex clearly says, a cursed energy permeated the suffering of a discarded and forgotten plush doll, giving it a new life as Banette. An abandoned plush doll became this Pokemon. So here's the plush. It was tough making it somewhat adorable, while still clearly a Banette. It's also the only drawing here that technically isn't a Pokemon. But there is another Pokemon I have in mind that used to be an inanimate object and just sprung to life. Charcadet, the Fire Child, is said to be a burnt charcoal that came to life and became a Pokemon, possessing a fiery fighting spirit. Charcadet will battle even tough opponents, but I find it hard to believe that a piece of coal instantly became a Charcadet. I like to believe that this illustrates the gradual process. A baby Charcadet that slowly formed from a piece of charcoal. Again, this ain't a prevo, just the state charcoal had to have been in the early stages of its life. This is peak form. I love you, Charcoal, but I do gotta show some love for the mons who are having a rough
It's a baby, but it's not a baby Pokemon.
time. Slugma, apparently. It never sleeps. It has to keep moving because if it stops, its magma body would cool and harden. These group together in areas that are hotter than normal. If it cools off, its skin hardens. So what if a Slugma stayed in one place? You know, settled down and had kids. Well, it would harden and look like this. Cooled
Looks like
lava
it's a
slug.
rock
Dude is
type.
not having a great day. Same as Corsola sometimes, but at least that's temporary. We already have a sad climate change Corsola, so what about a shedding Corsola? It constantly sheds and grows. The tip of its head is prized as a treasure for its beauty. If any branch breaks off, this Pokemon grows it back in just one night. So before it goes to sleep, Corsola looks like this. Obviously, you can visualize what a
that's
branchless
sad.
Corsola looks like. So before we get to the final illustration, here are some examples I found online and didn't try to mimic myself, since the ones I found here were already good on their own and perfectly illustrated the dex entries they represent. Grimmsnarl's hair wraps around its body, helping to enhance its muscles. This Pokemon can overwhelm even Machamp. Its hair works like muscle fibers. When its hairs unfurl, they latch onto opponents, ensnaring them as tentacles would.
Oh,
So
that's kind
what
of
would it
cool.
look like without hair? Because a Grimstall with alopecia has to exist. Well, I like this version by Bongwater777 on Twitter. It's just an idea. Think about it. And of course, nobody knows what Mimikyu actually looks like under its cloak. Honestly, its concept art is pretty revealing. Or so I thought. This piece of art is fake. It's not official. Elite
Damn
Four
it.
did it. So this fits right in with our fan-made interpretations.
Alright,
Now let's move
what you
on to
got?
my final piece, the Pokemon that inspired this video, Smooth Onyx. You've seen Diamond Onyx, inspired by its other Pokedex entry, but what about the other entry that states that as it grows older, its body becomes increasingly rounder and smoother? So here it is, Old Smooth
Oh.
Onyx. This
Wait,
is a
I like
distinguished
that.
gentleman. Give him some respect. He's been through it. Now that he moves slower,
So-
moss has accumulated, and of course its individual boulders are far rounder and less jagged if you notice. There are plenty of more examples
Not
to show,
bad
but
at
perhaps
all.
I'll save them for a potential part 2. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see such a thing. Don't forget to check the description for the music I use, the t-shirts I made for you.
Alright everyone, that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed this. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.